And it is All-Star Sunday here in the WNBA. Double dip for you on your local station. It's time we'll get the gap.
Let's go, Cheryl Swoops. Cheryl Swoops in the studio. Let's go. I'm here for this. I am here for this. Cheryl Swoops in the studio. All right. So here are the starters for the WNBA All-Star game. Let's go. Let's go. Nneka Ogwumike, Satu Sabali, Brianna Stewart, Asia Wilson, Aaliyah Boston, Brittany Griner. Pretty similar to my ballot. Pretty similar. I'm not perfect, but pretty close. We'll get into my ballot a little bit later here. Hello, Erica L. Ayala, your founder of Black Rosie Media, and this is our WNBA watch along. We are watching live on playback. You can watch the same stream I'm watching if you join us on playback, but we're also streaming as a watch along on YouTube. So this could be dope. There's a lot of news happening. We've got the WNBA All-Star Starters listed. We have Phoenix Mercury parting ways with Vanessa Nygaard, which I think seemed pretty obvious. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, we've got a pretty good matchup. If you watched our Gotta Get Up preview episode with the amazing Nisha Jones, we talked about this matchup for today. I like these starters. I don't think it's any surprise. I think Brittany Griner had a really great start to the season. She's been dealing with injury, but obviously the storyline as well. Brittany Griner returning. I like this. I like this. Yeah, I see Rafiq saying starters are not surprising. Again, I have one player on this list for the front court that I did not personally vote for, but we'll get into that. Aaliyah Boston, absolutely. RC talks, absolutely, without question. So Nneka, they're talking about Nneka right now, and that's the player for me that I did not have as on my all-star ballot. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's take a look now at the guards. Chelsea Gray, Arike Agumbawale, Jackie Young, and Jewel Lloyd. Again, I think this is pretty solid. Now remember, fans had 50% of the vote, players had 25% of the vote, media had 25% of the vote. So I think these are looking pretty good so far. I think for me, the glaring omission, and I know Tarika Foster Brasby probably has something to say about it. For me, Alyssa Thomas not being a starter, well, I find that a little tough. AT continues to be like literally the engine of the Connecticut Sun team. She's got moxie, she plays with spice, and she's a walking double double. So for me, to not have her as a starter, we saw that she did not carry the fan vote. So I'm very curious to see what the player vote percentages, what the overall percentages are, what the media percentages are. I'm not mad at Nneka being in. I just know that that's as far as I can remember, and I'll show you in a minute. But as far as I can remember, Nneka Ogwumike is the only player that I didn't have on my ballot. Everyone else I seem to be in line with what the vote is, which is kind of cool. But AT was in my backcourt. I was trying to figure out if there was a way to put her at the front court, but then also looking at the players who absolutely needed to be there. Jewel Lloyd needed to be there. Chelsea Gray, absolutely. Jackie Young, come through. Let's go. I think Courtney Vandersloot might have gotten some ballots for her assists, but for me, obviously, I follow the New York Liberty. For me, to be an overall all-star as a starter, not quite yet. Not quite yet. But yeah, I like this so far. I really don't have any problems. I really don't have any problems. So, as promised, I'm going to show you my ballot. I'm going to pull it up on YouTube first. Um, I gotta find it. I'm ill prepared. Surprise! I got distracted with the Phoenix news. That was again not surprising as far as I'm concerned. I listen. If it were me, I'm not sure she would have quite made the cut to start this season. And I think it's valid to an extent to say that the team Nygaard stepped into, I mean, Griner gone, that was tough. But as far as I'm concerned, when Vanessa Nygaard said, oh, and there's T here too. When Vanessa Nygaard said that it's not a real all-star weekend because Diana Taurasi wasn't at the all-star weekend and her other guard was an actual all-star starter. Skylar Diggins-Smith went to the all-star game last season for the Phoenix Mercury. Skylar Diggins-Smith was a starter, and the first thing out of Vanessa Nygaard's mouth, don't quote me that it's the first thing, but certainly the strongest thing out of her mouth was that it's not a real all-star weekend because Diana Taurasi isn't there. That was so strange, hella disrespectful. And just no, 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 no. Imma keep it real, and I almost wrote an article about this, but I'm in limbo a little bit. We'll get to that eventually, but, with my basketball coverage, but, Diana Taurasi, so putting that shade aside for a little bit, Diana Taurasi, I think early on had some numbers where, yeah, she could have been an all-star, just like Brittany Griner. Then she also has been dealing with injury. So if Taurasi ends up as an all-star this year, I'm not mad. I'm not necessarily mad. But again, I don't think she will just due to the injuries and the timing of everything. Last year, no. Diana Taurasi wasn't an all-star. Period. And that's okay. It's not like she's not you're not an all-star one year and it's not the end of the world, but it was not her best year and the game has caught up to her. So like, I don't know. It was just very strange. The whole Skylar Diggins Smith thing, very strange. I think Diggins Smith kind of comes out the villain in a lot of ways, but yeah, messy, 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 messy. I will say it is very interesting that the announcement to part ways with Vanessa Nygaard came right before the All-Star weekend. Because first question I would have asked her is Diana Taurasi is not a starter, so is this a real All-Star game or is this just are you just on your fake news crap again? But maybe that's just me. Either way, the New York Liberty Washington Mystics tipped off on ESPN. I have the feed here. We're also watching over on playback, so we got it in a few ways. So yeah. Um we're gonna bring in Drano action from Elena Deladon. I'm so glad she's back healthy. I mean, not as someone who doesn't necessarily root for her team, like she's out here terrorizing the league, but also like a healthy Elena Deladon is fun to watch. And the Washington Mystics getting off to a quick start here. If you missed it, we did a preview with Misha Jones. They were fantastic. And as a matter of fact, we'll be on our next episode of Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans. But this is going to be an interesting game. But yeah, we already got messiness. We got messiness. I don't think there was messiness, Angelica, when it came to the All-Star starters. I think that's pretty much, and I'm glad there wasn't messiness because again, fan vote accounted for 50%, other 25% split between media and players, actually. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, come through. Yes, so much. Yeah, I agree. I was mentioning, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. I'm using the free StreamYard today, so I can't put up the my ballot, but I can do it on playback, or should be able to do it on playback. So there was only one difference that I had on my ballot versus what we ended up seeing. And that was that I did not have Neka Ogumike. I opted for Alyssa Thomas instead. So, that's exactly. Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Like, I'm not like, "Outrage, we riot at dawn." No, absolutely not. NECA is a solid player. I honestly have not seen as many Sparks games as I've seen Connecticut games, and I've only watched maybe 1 or 2. It is early in the season. I do know that NECA's had solid, she has solid numbers. I I think we riot at dawn if Alyssa Thomas is not an all-star at all. Um, but again, she's one of those players that is always in the conversation. I don't think she's crying at night that she has not been named a starter. I can't imagine that. So the next thing will be that the coaches will vote on the reserve players that will fill out the rosters for both sides, and then the two leading vote getters, which I'm just now getting to the press release because I was watching it live, but I'm imagining that Brianna Stewart and Asia Wilson did take that again. And so they will likely be the captains, and then they'll be able to do a draft. There have been trades in the past, so we'll see how that works out. Yeah, it is fun. It is a lot of fun. So yeah, I think it's gonna be exciting. Um, mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I think she missed, uh yeah, something like that, but she's in the lineup, tonight. It looks like Sabrina Ionescu, who had also missed some time, is guarding her, at least for now. We'll see how that goes. Um, yeah. Well, and that's the thing with both of these teams. I don't think that they've found their complete 40 minutes yet. And the Liberty, we've seen them start well, not close out games well. We've seen them not start well and then have a surge at the end. We've seen them multiple times score 100 plus in a matchup, including on Friday against Atlanta. So, I think it's a little bit hit or miss. Sabrina Ionescu back from her hamstring injury, did a little shushing of the crowd. Did a little shushing of the crowd on Friday's game. So, yeah. Oh, well, people I mean, here's the thing. People are gonna be upset with whatever Sabrina Ionescu does, and I hope she gets to the other side of it because, Kelsey Plum had the same situation, very similar, kind of like poster white girl coming out, number 1 pick, and I mean, there's truth. Yeah, nice takeaway. The Mystics came out sparring, but transition game can be clutch for both of these teams. Ooh. But yeah, I mean, 13-0 run right now. I feel like I say this all the time, but I really love the graphics package that we're getting this year from all of the broadcast partners. Do you think it's an interesting choice that they gave gold to the Mystics? Oh, Nigel Laney, of course. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we jumped right into it, Hermana, but what's good? Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I yeah. I have always been a big fan of Kelsey Plum. Sabrina, I think for me, her I think that she gets a superstar tab when really I think she's maybe the 1A or 2 of a really good perennial team. And I don't think that's shade. I just think that's the role that she plays best on the side of publicity and social media, she gravitates a lot, and I think that's where Kelsey Plum also had to figure that out, but that's again the contradiction that we see between how the media embraces people versus how what role they actually play, and I think the difference is that Kelsey, she's been more outspoken with it as her career has progressed, but she never liked that. She has opened up, I think it's on CBS, about how she was very depressed after her draft. Like she's like, "Yeah, I forgot my wallet," and then just went back. Like she didn't want to hang out with anyone. And her Achilles injury, she talks about, and I've been able to talk to her about this. Really freed her up. She got back in touch with her body. She did you know, this game is moving too fast, certainly for the Liberty, but I think honestly it's a frantic pace for both teams right now. Yeah. Ooh, that block though. Yeah, cold, ice cold for the Liberty right now. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, agreed, exactly, and that's why I always felt that Sabrina, one day absolutely can be the go-to, the clutch, the sniper, the all of it for the New York Liberty. It didn't need to be her rookie season, and it doesn't need to be her until she's worked under a veteran guard. So I love that they have Courtney Vandersloot there. I love that they brought in Sandy Brondello. I think that's a better move, and she's gonna sharpen her toolkit so that she has longevity in this league. I don't doubt that she'll have that. And I never doubted that Kelsey Plum would have that. Both of them, their rookie years were basically abruptly disrupted with an ankle injury, with a high ankle and a severe ankle sprain. So again, they're both coming out of the Pac-12. Like there's a lot of um, parallels and similarities. I think again the difference is that Kelsey never really wanted that limelight. I think Sabrina has a very intense like sports basketball way of dealing with it, but I also think she absorbs it a lot more than Kelsey did, which is why she gets the haters. I don't think she's bothered by it. I do think it gets a little excessive at times, and she's thrown into the mix of things that really are out of her control. But again, she's in her villain era doing the little shh to the crowd. So I don't know. I'm curious to see. But you know what? You gotta have a swagger, and you gotta dish it and give it. If you're gonna be in a market like New York, like, come on, what are we talking about? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, and I just wanna, yeah. But, real quick, I just wanna get to these comments that we see over on, YouTube. JC says, "I was at the Phoenix-Seattle game last night, and I said, 'I wonder how much longer Nygaard is the coach.'" Well, not much longer, JC. Always trust your instincts. And JC also says, "AT is so consistent, it's impressive." Again, Alyssa Thomas, it's almost like saying I mean, you mentioned Steph, you mentioned NBA comps, but I'll do a WNBA comp. It's almost like, Maya Moore never got the respect she deserved. The Minnesota Lynx in their heyday probably didn't get the respect that they deserve. Sylvia Fowles. I feel like Alyssa Thomas at the end of the day is going to be that type of player. I mean, she's putting up numbers. The consistency is ridiculous, a walking double double, and she will find her place in the history books in the WNBA. The thing that sucks to me about this is that there are bonuses, not to mention exposure when you do get to WNBA All-Star games. I don't know how much that really bothers AT. I get the sense that that's not really her vibe. But I hope when it's all said and done that, it's, and exactly, JC saying double double, if not triple double. I'm just being conservative. That's like a guaranteed double double, but then you add the assists and the fact that AT the fact that AT can facilitate at such a high level, playing a really interesting hybrid position for that Connecticut team. And also, of course, everyone mentions the shoulders and the labrums and all of that. Just beast mode for sure. Yeah, so we got a 23-9 smackdown right now in the first quarter. Mystics over the Liberty. Um, I I would be shocked if the game stays like this. I don't think it's gonna stay like this. I think the game is moving faster. I think the game's moving faster than I thought it would, and I we put out a few predictions, Misha and I, in our preview episode. So I'm curious to see which will come to pass. But Misha is going to join us post game with Brian for the Gotta Get Up podcast, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Just the shot selection not great for the Liberty right now. Marine Johannes, love it. I think the Liberty are going to have interesting decisions to make, not only depending on what Marine's status is with her French national team, and kind of the WNBA priority rule, but also Marine is a two. She's not going to be a backup point guard. Sabrina is best at the two, kind of what I was alluding to, no pun intended. And so that leaves Vandersloot now as your veteran playing a lot of point guard minutes. Epiphany Prince right now, as far as we understand, is on a hardship contract. She's been in and out of the lineup just due to some of the injuries that the Liberty have had. So, and we talked about this on the last episode with Brian of Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans. But we talked about, what is going to be the answer there. We have seen Brianna Stewart take the ball and facilitate the offense. Um, and she's very capable of doing that. It's just a matter of if you want her doing that, how much wear and tear does that put on her? Does that take her out of her best spots? And I don't honestly don't think it's not a bad problem per se, but then what happens if she's out with injury or she needs extended rest? Then what are your options? So I don't know that it's a super problem. It's definitely been a problem for the Liberty in the past, so that's why it's always fresh on my mind. I don't think it's as big of a problem with this. um what up, RC? Wait, what? RC talks. What you talking about? What you talking about, Ming? I missed it. Let me know what you're thinking. Johannes is a lot of fun to watch and has an absolute sick shot. But again, she's a two, a solid two. You have to really push her to play the point guard position, and Sandy Brondello has said that. So I'm waiting to see what RC talks is talking about. Um, but yeah, this game 27-17 right now. Don't think, yeah, Mystic's not going to get a final shot. But Misha and I talked about this. Both of these teams are going to use this, and Misha said this as a barometer. They're neck and neck in the standings. The Washington Mystics, they defeated the Liberty in the Liberty's first game of the season. That was opening day, as a matter of fact. So, this is teams with some stuff to prove against each other, and both trying to prove that they're kind of worthy of the tags that they have been given, and maybe proof that, for those who didn't give them some tags or the respect that they deserve, that they're going to put the league on notice. So it's gonna be a battle. RC said, "You said someone is playing. Who's playing? I don't, I don't know that that gives me more than I need. So I don't know. I don't know what that means. But if you remember more details, let me know. Do you think Diana Taurasi should just retire? I think Diana Taurasi is gonna do what DT wants to do, and everyone's gonna let her. So I a few years ago, I was more vocal with it. I was like, yeah, it might be time, just because she had all these back surgeries and wasn't recovering properly, and it just seemed like, all right, DT, this is kind of crazy. And then last season, honestly, don't think it was great. Don't think she was an all-star. But I was like, okay, there's some gas left in the tank. Let me find out. And then this year again had a good start, but again, some injuries. But DT, I'm not putting any more guessing. I'm not putting any more effort into guessing what DT is or isn't gonna do. Exactly. Or Brett Favre. Yeah, that's from There's Something About Mary for the Youngins. Thank you. Hilarious movie. Oh, the New York Liberty is the New York Liberty hosting the Washington Mystics. That's what's on ABC right now. Um, JC says it's not a game without DT getting a tech. It's true. I mean, she's an old dog that still got some bark, and you know what? She is entertaining for the league. She's a name that people know. And when DT's ready to not play basketball anymore, she'll still be in basketball and probably still finding ways to act a fool. I mean, have you seen the alternate broadcast that she does on ESPN? Talking about the Carolina Gamecocks and let's just say shortening their name with dramatic pauses and just comedic humor to the point where she left Sue Bird speechless a few times. I mean, hilarious. That's what DT does, and so it's gonna be entertaining to watch either way, but yeah, I'm not putting any more energy into guessing what or saying what I think she should or shouldn't do. I think DT should do whatever she wants to do, and she has played basketball at an elite level for long enough that I don't know a person in the world that's not just gonna let her rock. What I will say, and I cannot report this let me put it this way. I'm not reporting on facts. I'm reporting on me filling in gaps. I do think Diana Taurasi for a while has had a lot of say so over maybe not say so because again I can't corroborate that. I think Diana Taurasi for all of the reasons and all of the things that I just said has been a very vocal person when it comes to what she would like to see for the Phoenix Mercury. And at some point in time, and we see this all across sports, you have to decide as an ownership group in particular, are you going to do whatever it takes to keep your star happy, or are you going to let your general managers and your coaches do the job that you paid them to do? And respectfully, you talked about LeBron James. LeBron James is not a scout, he's not a general manager, and he's not a coach. He is a player. And I think it's important to keep those lines. Now we see all across sports that other athletes entice teammates that they've had at the national team or overseas, not for men, but in women's sports, when they play overseas with each other and then they come to their domestic league, those things happen. And that's not what I'm talking about. But when have people that are maybe inputting or their input is validated to an extent that blurs those lines, I think it's concerning. And from what I've heard, again, I can't report facts on this, but from what I've heard just in passing, but from people who would have knowledge of the situation, I think there's a hint of that had to do with Sandy Brondello leaving Phoenix, with Vanessa Nygaard coming to Phoenix, and I am very curious to hear what Diana Taurasi thinks about the Phoenix Mercury moving on from Vanessa Nygaard, because I don't think you need to be Diana Taurasi to see that contract divorce needed to happen. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I wanna switch gears a little bit here, but I'm trying to incorporate also our YouTube, comments, but RC says, "My aces are 12 and 1, I love them, but they're boring me by being so amazingly dominant. Your thoughts?" First of all, I mean, the aces could run the table for the rest of the game, and I still think they're a hella entertaining team. Their personalities are ridiculous. They went to Did you see that video where they went to some kind of event? I think it might have been a charity event, but it was like one of those dinners, soiree situation, and they had like these different colored stickers. Yes, like I think they're hilarious, and that's just off the court. And then you look at the passes that Chelsea Gray is still making, she does her little thing when I think they're so entertaining. And so, I mean, if you want them to lose more, I guess that's fine too. Do I think that if they run the table, like don't lose another game, does that guarantee that they're the champion again? Absolutely not. I mean, we saw Indiana. You want them to play Indiana every night because Indiana was about to disrupt all the narratives of super team. The fact that you have a bottom dweller for the last forever, since Tamika Catchings was on the team, take the aces and take them to task. Like, come on, I don't think exactly. Oof. Stewie is way off today. Stewie is not shooting the ball well. Last time we saw that was in the Wumping from Atlanta, but that goes back to what I was saying. If you have Brianna Stewart playing the one on a team where you have Courtney Vandersloot, Sabrina Ionescu, Maureen Johannes, Epiphany Prince, like why is she playing the one? And then she then can't do what she does. So I'm just going to keep an eye on that storyline because I understand it. I don't like it, and I do think that if it's not fixed, this could be the Achilles for the New York Liberty. The shots are just the shots are not giving. So that's what I have to say, JC, about your aces. Or excuse me, that was RC, not JC that said that. So yeah, I mean, I think they're hella fun. So I mean, if you want a team that's got to work for it a little bit more, I mean, Chicago's a seesaw team for you right now. Even these Mystics, although they're looking real good right now. Brittany Sykes, with the Horace goggles. Um, let's go. I know that's right. Listen, listen, I love it. I do wanna say, though, going back to the Aces, and again, I haven't seen them since earlier in the season, but I think there are probably still some questions regarding their depth. And so that's something that because the Aces were pretty solid last season, maybe not as dominant as we're seeing, but same thing. You want to find your stride at the right time. And are there improvements that they can make? Oh, that should be a walk. I thought she did get away with a walk there. Very, very curious. Very curious. Um, but anyway, so that's what I have to say about the aces. I think, and Misha and I talked about this. Sometimes we see bottlenecking at the top of the league. Sometimes we see bottlenecking at the bottom of the league, like who's going to be the last two teams in. That happened last year, and the Liberty were one of those teams. But I really think it's a bottlenecking in the middle from like four to, I mean, the middle is basically 3, 4, 5, 6, probably. I mean, yeah, that's not even really half. That's a quarter of the league right there because it's 12 teams. But I think that you're really vying for the teams that are going to have those that 4 through 6 kind of spot. Exactly. Exactly, and the Liberty have not defeated the Mystics yet this season, and they have an uphill climb. They got some work to do if they wanna do it now. So, I think there's a lot of interesting storylines. I am very curious to see what, the Phoenix Mercury are gonna look like, now that they are under a new coach. Yeah, I'm very glad, though, that at least as of right now, there's no all-star drama. There's not going to be any, as Skylar Diggins Smith might tweet, clowns talking about an all-star game is not an all-star game if Diana Taurasi is not there, which is just such a weird. It's a weird comment at this part in her career. It was a very strange comment last season given her performance through voting. Um, and just like, no, no. Yeah, like that was so strange. So strange. It was very strange. And we've seen yeah, and we've seen and heard coaches, like, go hard in the paint for their player feeling that they've been disrespected, so I'm not even that's not what was the strangest thing about it to me, it was just so not in line with the stats, with the eye test, with the anything, that you're like, I mean, where is this coming from? Like, who paid you to say this? Like, what is happening? Because this is not real. Yeah. Alright, we have a oh, go ahead. I was gonna say we have a few more comments here during the commercial. I'm about to give up on Brea Beal getting back into the league. I could easily highlight her talk about her, but I'm not going to. She's not taking it seriously in many people's eyes. So this is an interesting comment, RC, because I think there's two things that are happening. One is that there's no development for WNBA players. You go to a Final Four in the NCAA, and then you're invited to a draft, and then you're expected to perform. But I do think that there is something to, and I'll put it in a positive light. I think Gino Auriemma for a time, especially while he was heavily involved in USA basketball, and obviously Don Staley being the blueprint now. There are certain coaches, and by way their programs in the NCAA that do a better job of rounding out. They do a better job of rounding out the they do a better job of rounding out their players to be prepared for the WNBA. Because if you're not prepared mentally, physically, emotionally, economically, business savvy, like there's so many things that you have to do, and there's no time to do it. So if you don't have a coach that's developing that throughout your time, it's going to be difficult. And if you have not learned how to, do some of that on your own, which is outside of your coach, right? Rhea Beal, an example. So perhaps I don't know, but it can be difficult to now have to figure out how to do a lot of that on your own. So that's part of the conversation. But the other part of the conversation is that what are you doing? What resources do you have to, as you're not playing in the league, to continue to refine your game? Epiphany Prince, Odyssey Sims, Destiny Henderson. These are all players who are on the outside looking in. They're on hardship contracts, and you'll see people say things like, "I can't believe you're gonna cut Destiny after she has this chemistry with so and so." You have to. If you're on an emergency hardship contract, there's no option for you to then be a full rostered player. At least not in Destiny's situation. That's not an option on the table. So the best thing that Destiny, Odyssey, Epiphany, and maybe Brea Beal can do is find a way to stay playing high level basketball. Now, what does that look like when the last high level basketball you were playing was in the NCAA and you haven't even really had any licks at being a pro? That's tough. It's not impossible, but it's tough. So that's what I had to say about that. Exactly. Yeah. And RC, I mean, first, what I'll say is I don't agree with you. So your comment is there's so many blowouts, so many middle of the pack teams, only three teams that have gained legitimate separation: the Liberty, the Sun, and the Aces. Those are your top three teams in reverse order. But no, I don't agree with you that there's a lot of middle of the pack teams per se. Yeah. So, anyway, I don't know that I agree with you for this season. I think there is going to be a lot of potential for teams to move up and down. I think again, Indiana's a perfect example. I don't recall right now where they sit. I want to say they're either sixth or seventh in the league right now, but I think they could be a team that moves up and moves up at the right time. The LA Sparks, I think, are probably a middle of the pack team, but Kurt Miller is a pretty solid coach, and maybe once they get their systems in place, you see them skyrocket. But then with yeah. Yeah, but then who falls out of favor? I think it really comes down to the teams that are more disciplined. So I don't agree that it's not a blowouts, it's not a talent issue. I mean, blowouts happen in sports for all kinds of reasons, including that it's mentally and physically taxing to do what these athletes do in a short period of time. Blowouts don't necessarily bother me. I think there's a difference between maybe how Minnesota has been playing, how Phoenix, hello, has been playing. Those are different. But mm, I think the coaching is an underreported storyline for this season in a good way. I think you're seeing that the coaching, look at what Atlanta has been able to do under Tanisha Wright's second season. So I think what we're starting to see is coaches with more familiarity. I mean, they're playing, Satu Sabali, All-Star starter. I mean, look what uh, what Dallas has been able to do. They still have inconsistencies, but their new head coach has them playing at a level where they probably should have been playing before. And I'm a Vicky Johnson fan. I'm a Vicky Johnson fan. Um, and hindsight being 2020, they needed a different coach, and that's what Dallas went and did. So I think coaching is going to be the deciding factor this season, and I think you're really going to see what teams have good coaching staffs and what teams are going to probably look to work on that in the off season. Oh, Indiana is at 9 below Chicago. Okay, I couldn't remember. Um, yeah, yeah. I think it's probably like just safe to say 3 weeks at this point. Yeah, it's about 3 weeks. I mean, yeah, that's what we said though, and we know that both of these teams can be inconsistent. And the other side of it is that both of these teams, they fight back. So I thought the pace was interesting. It's getting spicy now. Um, yeah, which is not surprising if you looked at how the first quarter was played. But Misha, shout out to Misha because she called out that Benijah Laney could be the X factor for this Liberty squad. Now, I mean, anyone who watches the Liberty knows that obviously always Benijah Laney. But I love to hear Misha say that because they were our guests to be the expert on the Washington Mystics. And so I love that other people are seeing that from Laney as well. The X factor that I threw out in addition to Laney was Kayla Thornton, but more so on the defensive end and what she could do off the bench. And I think it's too early to tell just yet. We have seen Sandy Brondello go to her bench early, and I did say the New York Liberty will win this matchup if they get more point production from their reserve players than the Washington Mystics. And so I'll have to look at the numbers at halftime, but you have to have depth. I do like what the Liberty have at depth, especially for that like 3-4 position, 2-3-4 position. Um, Center depth, mm, I mean, Hanju is not with the team right now. Stephanie Dolson, I believe, is injured, which is how Epiphany Prince was able to. I didn't get to watch pregame media, but the amazing Miles Ehrlich has been reporting on that. I was at Tulsa Pride yesterday, so yeah. Oh, it was a lot of fun. A good friend of mine, a few good friends of mine, they had they were vendors and selling their new products as entrepreneurs here. So I don't have them. I will show them off later, but I am not. I'm recovering nail biter, but as someone who now finds myself in front of camera or like getting ready to go to Vegas for All Star, sometimes you want to look a little polished. So she has yeah, she has a press-on nail company, and then it's right, and then each nail package or, like, style is an affirmation, so instead of it being like, "This is the neon green streak," or whatever, it's like, "I am sassy," or "I am," it's super cute. So anyway, I bought yeah, so I bought some definition nails, so by All-Star, you'll see I'm gonna be playing around with those, and then another good friend, my Tulsa primo, as I say. So he's my cuz out here, my Tulsa cousin. Um, he started a wellness and self-care line where he started with incense, mists and sprays. Yes. Oh my gosh, so good. And so I've known he wanted to do this for a while, and I've smelled some of like his early samples and starters, but I've been on the road and haven't been able to catch up with what his full line was. So I was hanging out with them. It was a lot of fun getting to, support their business. Well, girl, it was hot. I got there and I was like, this is oppressive heat. I cannot breathe. Um, and then I was like, y'all, I have ice packs, like, for my little HelloFresh deliveries. They were like, "Can you go get them?" I was like, "I will go get them." When I tell you we were legitimately, like, sitting there with ice packs on our bodies to keep the body temperature, it was cray cray. But it was a lot of fun. It was my first online store. Sure does. Lavender_store on Instagram and TikTok. Yes. I love it. Another one I would recommend, is Soulful Vibes, also queer both are queer owned, so Lavender, LVDR, um awesome. So that's my homie Jamar. Both are queer owned, but the other one is Soulful Vibes, and that's also Black owned. I've been rocking with Soulful Vibes for a minute. I got a little affiliate link if you really want to know. But I love having my incense. I burn incense every morning and throughout the day, just to keep the vibes good. But yeah, it was cute. It was cute. And it was just a lot of fun. I thought it was interesting though that there were some church groups that kind of were right outside. Yeah. There were some church groups out there. I mean, I tweeted about it, but I was like, see, I do spread the message of love. That's why I came to Pride to be supportive and to just enjoy this beautiful community. Yeah, it's getting crazy. Not surprised. Not surprised. Oh, cool. All the prides. Well, because it's the last weekend, so mhm. Ooh, 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 I like it. Nice transition. Ooh, and one. Okay. Vandersloot is slippery. Like, she is like, I remember I was like, "Dang, I hate it, but I love it." When she played for Chicago, I was like, "Oh, why she do that to us? Go play somebody else already." Now she's on the Liberty. I love that. Um Had a question from JC. Sorry, I was over on the playback stream. Have you watched any Storm? We look so much better than the start of the season. Hopefully, we can catch a stride to make the playoffs, but that might be wishful thinking. So, I have not. I agree with you about the Storm. I I know some people are not sold on Coach Quinn. I like Coach Noe. I think she needs a little time. You have to remember that she had Sue Bird and Brianna Stewart, and now she doesn't. That's an adjustment, and I think that's what we're seeing from the Storm. But they seem to. I know Kia Nurse has talked a lot about how they're in good spirits. Jewel Lloyd is really in her leadership era, so I love that for her. I think that's the next evolution of her game, and like anyone who did not have Jewel Lloyd on their All Star ballot, I'm talking fan, I'm talking player, I'm talking media. I'm gonna tell you right now, you're a hater. There's no way Jewel, and I'm not saying that anyone did this. I'm just saying like that's how much of a lock she was, in my opinion. Like I don't think there was any player, probably other than Aaliyah Boston. Well, there's a few, but I think Aaliyah Boston, Brianna Stewart, Jackie Young, and Jewel Lloyd and Satsu. See, I just keep saying everyone. Like there were a lot of good early performances and performances that have been consistent. I think Arike was a player where I was a little bit on the fence and trying to see if I wanted to maybe sneak in another guard or if I wanted to have AT as a right in as a guard. But other than that, I think that the starters is pretty solid. So I feel like this is the first game that we're getting after Tanisha Wright's comments. Um, and that was actually against the New York Liberty. So I mean, the officiating has been interesting in this game for sure. I don't know if there was a conversation or a meeting that was had, but I'm like, okay, y'all are maybe doing too much. I don't know yet, but I'm just keeping an eye on it. I like this comment. JC says Coach Quinn is even keeled. You can tell she really supports the growth of the players. Joyner Holmes, yes, know her from the New York Liberty, has had a breakout game, and she said can be herself. Yes, I love that for Joyner. I saw the celebration in the locker room. Joyner Holmes was a cog for the New York Liberty, one of those players that had come in and out on hardship. And I liked what Joyner Holmes gave. I thought it was difficult for her to crack that Liberty roster at the time. And I think she was also in Connecticut for a little bit, maybe on some hardship contracts for a spell. But yeah, Joyner Holmes can be, I think, like a Kayla Thornton, uh like a Glory Johnson, like a just a big, strong presence that will like not many people are going to outwork her. Kia, not Kia. There's so many Kias. Also played with the Liberty is with the Kia Vaughn. I don't know why I forgot her name for a minute. Kia Vaughn. I think she can be that type of player in the league. So I'm glad that Joyner is feeling comfortable. Yes, I did see those comments, and again, her celebration, the team celebrating with her. And I agree with you. Noelle Quinn knows basketball. She is very even keeled. She will give you one of the, F out of here every once in a while to the officials, but I feel like most coaches do. But yeah, I like Quinn. Oh, it was the Sparks. Okay, I know she bounced around a little bit. Sleeper team. Okay, RC asks, who's your sleeper team? Mine's might be the Sparks or Mystics. Angelica, do you have a sleeper team you think in the league this year? Mm, there's a lot happening. There's just a lot happening. I think so. RC Angelica agrees with you because I don't think the sound always translates when you're speaking. So I'm just gonna reiterate, yes, we think Angelica for sure thinks the Mystics might be one. And I think the Mystics are a sleeper team mostly because I don't think many people from my purview are talking about them. Certainly not as a super team. Obviously, people talking about Elena Deladon being back. But and Misha and I talked about this. I don't think people have talked enough about Eric Tebow taking over for his I almost said his daughter, which makes no sense, for his father, Mike Tebow. I was like, what? That's not real. Anyway, for his father, Mike Tebow. And I think that's an interesting storyline. So I think they're a sleeper in that they're a little bit off the radar from other. So I think they're a sleeper in that way, but I don't think it's because they don't have a good team. They're probably just being maybe undervalued from a mainstream media perspective. I think a sleeper team to me from jump has been the Indiana Fever, and I think again they've showed us that they can go head to head with the Vegas Aces. And there's some games that Indiana has lost this year that after Aaliyah Boston has another season, after Christy Sides, their new head coach, has another season, I don't think they lose next year. Mhm. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So what Angelica is saying is that even if it doesn't transpire, they're gonna be a tough team to play down the road and a team that can play spoiler to teams looking to get into the top 8, and I think that's really great. So JC says he agrees with RC about the Sparks, and we kind of alluded to this, but Kurt Miller is with the Sparks. I think, again, you're seeing how coaching changes have created better scenarios for teams that were far from sleepers or even in the playoff picture. The Sparks, the Fever, which begs the question, what do we think about the Minnesota Lynx? Because Cheryl Reeve is one of the winningest coaches in WNBA, certainly active. And I feel like she's even alluded to this, and I wonder if it has to do with the new ownership and because last I checked, she still is a GM coach. We still have those in the WNBA. But I don't know that it's just a a disagreement of minds when it comes to the new ownership and kind of more basketball operations. I think that again, you're just seeing a different level of talent and a new era. And I still think Cheryl Reeve is going to be an amazing coach. And I think similarly to what we saw Kurt Miller do, is it time for her to maybe find a different spot if she remains in the league, and can she maybe has she tapped out with what she can do in Minnesota? So that's not really answering the sleeper team question, at least in the way I think you meant it. But I do think Minnesota is an interesting team, and they have to figure out which direction they're going in. I think there's a little bit of a they're bridging between what was and now what they are going to be, but I don't think they've moved forward enough with what they want to be as far as an identity, and that might mean moving on from Cheryl Reeve. Yeah, and again in the comments, absolutely, and we've mentioned this. We talked about Sylvia Fowles, but she obviously also retired last year. I thought it was so odd to have Sue Bird and Sylvia Fowles numbers retired on the same day. Now, I'm sure that the teams individually did that, but if I'm the WNBA, I'm like, excuse me, maybe just maybe, um, Minnesota, why don't we check with Sylvia and make sure that it's like an ABC game. Like, maybe we do that. Because not only was it on the same day, but she like, Sylvia Fowles, her presentation was, like, through League Pass or something, it wasn't Sue Bird was on ABC, and apparently it was, like, a 2-hour celebration. I still haven't gone back and watched them, the full celebrations, but, like, Sylvia deserves all the respect, and as fans, like, a lot of WNBA fans, we watch multiple teams because we have players that we follow, so, from a fan perspective, from a perspective of the league being able to stretch that out, I would have liked to see those 2 happen on different days. Now, and it could very well be the case. Maybe they were like, I can do it on this day, so that's the day. And if that's the answer, then that's the answer, and I'm fine. But without that knowledge, and if it was possible, I would have liked to see it separated. Girl, that is not gonna help your shot percentage, which is already off. Um, like, okay, J JC says they probably would have liked to go to each other's jersey retirements. Not just them, but, like, they've had former USA basketball teammates that are the same. They never played with each other, but have played, to your point, JC. Again, or media, right? National media had to not every national media outlet gives multiple WNBA reporters. So, like, the AP, we have Doug. Doug can't go from Minnesota to Seattle unless there's a private jet that I don't know about for the Associated Press, just as one example. So, um, which is which has been the storyline. It was the entire storyline last season. So Angelica was saying that people are going to have to pick between Sue Bird and Sylvia Fowles, and more than likely, we're going to pick, or any general person would pick Sue Bird. And why is that? Because Sue Bird is a name that crosses through sports media, that people know, that people are going to click. That's why she had a 2-hour celebration. It was a brand new, essentially, Climate Pledge arena, and the suit was amazing. And I mean, Barron's gave her a ring. I'm like, where is Sylvia's ring? Like, what the F is going on here? But that's goes back to kind of what we were talking about regarding Kelsey Plum and Sabrina Ionescu, and the larger issue that always permeates itself in the WNBA, which is that, a few things. The WNBA as a league, and I think they've gotten better, and even individual teams, they select the players that they want to showcase, and that's sometimes, regardless of performance. That's sometimes regardless of, uh, like, affinity night, or, like, I won't say hockey is for everyone night, but you know what I mean. Like, it's like, we're celebrating AAPI night, and we're gonna put Sabrina Ionescu on the poster, even though Hanju is right there. The Liberty did not do that. They did not do that. I'm just using that as an example. But you know who did do that was the Indiana Fever, and they had their Juneteenth night, and they had this beautiful video about Juneteenth. But instead of promoting one of the people in the video who talked about Juneteenth, they put someone who did not do anything. I can't remember, and they took it down. So, but it's just like, we see this across the board, and unfortunately, it became in a very real way, both on their retirements, um, and their last seasons. We saw it last year, and then we saw it again with their jersey retirements. But I am here for Cheryl Swoops getting more repetitions on ABC, Disney, ESPN networks, and I love it. Oop, they're talking about Nygaard. Oh, I wanna hear what Cheryl has to say. Hold on, hold on. I am dying to hear what Cheryl Swoops has to say about this. Hold tight. 2 and 10. Yikes. Exactly, JC. We all know why, and it's upsetting. Let's hear what the GOAT, Cheryl Swoops, has to say about Vanessa Nygaard? I'm so curious. Cheryl. We were just talking about that. They're talking about DT getting older. It's fair. Yep. And they wore him down. True. True. Correct. Sophie Cunningham. Mm, mm. I think girl, she said, listen, she said everything that everyone already knew in the nicest and most direct way possible. I love that. I love that for Cheryl. I love that for us because she's right. You want to play for a coach that's going to inspire you. And it became evidently clear last season that Vanessa Nygaard was not equipped to handle what was happening in Phoenix. And I'm not even talking about Brittany Griner. That exacerbated everything. But listen to what Cheryl Swoops just said. Is that team built for success? Maybe not. But remember last year they had Skylar Diggins-Smith, they had Kia Nurse on that team, so who probably still more defensive-minded, but can score for you. But Skylar Diggins-Smith is on maternity leave. That's the official word. It's matter of fact, she did have a child, so we know that. However, the writing was on the wall last year. Vanessa Nygaard did not have control of this team. Don't forget, we didn't even talk about the tea between Diana Taurasi and Skylar Diggins-Smith when they started barking at each other in the middle of a game. In the middle of a game. So now you have two of your literal most effective offensive player, Skylar Diggins-Smith, and your legacy player, Diana Taurasi, spatting at least once publicly. Now, how far that went beyond, who knows? But then again, when Nygaard said what she said, putting all of her little eggs in the DT basket, who was not an all-star, unprovoked, no one asked you, and you certainly didn't have to go that far, and your actual all-star starter gives you the clown emoji on your comment. How again, and none of that is at least directly having to do with Brittany Griner. Now, I cannot imagine the emotional toll that Griner's situation took on the Phoenix Mercury. That's very real, but let's not act like that was the only thing. Definitely. Yeah, it's not. It's not. There's just a lot. I do think that Sophie Cunningham is a very polarizing character player. That being said, Sophie Cunningham has proven that she can be a spark plug for the Phoenix Mercury team. But to Cheryl's point, Cheryl Swoops, the hockey Hall of Famer. Why you keep doing that? The basketball Hall of Famer and if we are talking about that on Tuesday, go listen to Founding Four Pod. The Hall of Famer, um, 2 times over, she didn't mention Sophie Smith. What now? I'm talking about soccer. There's too much happening in my brain right now. Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Smith is going to the World Cup. Very excited for her. Anyway, Sophie Cunningham, she is an offensive powerhouse, but she has not had to play that role. It's still a new role for her. And with the injuries to Diana Taurasi, with the injuries to Brittany Griner, she's had to step up into that role. But is that a role that she can carry and withstand throughout the season? Because Sophie Cunningham has remained in the WNBA and particularly on that Phoenix roster because of the spark that she gives to a team that's already loaded. So no Skylar Diggins-Smith, no Brittany Griner, no Diana Taurasi. Is an offense booned by Sophie Cunningham alone enough? And the answer has been no. And that's fine. I mean, and I don't think that's an indictment on Sophie's game, but I do think I agree with what Cheryl Swoops is saying, that it is Vanessa Nygaard didn't have the confidence of that team, but also I do like that people are now asking questions on how was this Phoenix roster built? They let some assets walk out the door in the last handful of years, and I do think that's because now, to the extent how much of it has to do, I thought the exit of and you know what? This is, since the Liberty are playing, another very salient point is when the I gotta turn this down because now I'm getting on my soapbox. I'm getting on my soapbox. But when the Phoenix Mercury let go of Sandy Brondello, who was very emotionally, she was hurt, I think, by the news. She understood it from a business standpoint, but she'd been with that organization for a really long time. I'm reading between the lines in what she did say publicly that she didn't fully agree with it, and it certainly didn't come from her. So now Sandy Brondello is out, and the person that you bring in after Sandy Brondello, who won you a championship, who players always talk about, is the kind of coach that is a player first coach who is always getting Phoenix teams to the playoffs, who are probably mediocre at best on paper, but somehow gets them crawling across the line, not only to the playoffs, but to the point that we were making earlier, has them be spoilers in the playoffs. Go run and tell that to the Connecticut Sun. I was at that game when in a 1-game playoff, the Phoenix Mercury came in and said, no, you're not having that. We're taking it. Thank you very much. That was Sandy. Those were Sandy teams. And so now you get rid of her, and the person you bring in is Nygaard to the tune of a 2-10 start in season 2. That is not good basketball sense to me. And maybe other things happened where Nygaard could not perform that way. But again, the comments, the tiffs on the bench, the players that have left since, that Tina Charles, like, people put so much crap on Tina Charles for leaving that squad. Everyone knew Tina was chasing a ring. Everyone knew she wanted a ring. Everyone knew that. And she wasn't shy about that. And you know what? I'm not even mad at it per se. She was honest. One thing about Tina, because she's from Brooklyn, she is always going to be 100%. So everybody knew that. She went to Washington to win a ring. She thought she was going to play with EDD. EDD out for the season with an injury. She had to be the workhorse again, did what she could do, got Washington to where they got to. And then, Washington, they felt some kind of way about her locker room presence. I can't speak to that. I just think it's convenient for people to blame everything on TC when you're saying that your team isn't good enough, but also your team made the playoffs because of how Tina Charles was playing. But again, don't just ask Washington. Ask Phoenix. Oh, wait, she dipped. Where did she go then? She went to Seattle. And again, Sue Bird was like, listen, y'all are asking me all these questions about Tina Charles and da-da-da-da and baka-baka-ba, why she didn't do exit interviews. Sue Bird, if you don't want to believe me, if you don't want to believe Tina Charles, Sue Bird said, we don't make the playoffs if Tina Charles doesn't come to this team and step up into the role that she stepped up into. So what that tells me, going back to Phoenix now, is that again, someone who was buku hella ready to ring chase, and then you lose Brittany Griner to the situation with Russia. Diana Taurasi not playing her best and obviously not 100% healthy. Skylar Diggins Smith balling out, but obviously having issues not only with Diana Taurasi, but with her head coach. And so then TC was like, deuces, I'm out. Something was toxic in that organization. Hello. Common denominator. Exactly. Hello. And who's still there? I mean, I'm glad, Cheryl didn't go this far, but again, you read between the lines. And she was asked, is this a coaching problem? Is this a front office? And she said a little bit of both. And I like that. She's like, yeah, I don't like how this roster is constructed. And I mean, again, that just goes back to, are there things at play where there's other people who are not the GM who have a little bit of uh too much influence on what the actual GM is doing? It seems like that from a distance. I don't have anything on paper. I can't give you audio or video clips to prove that, but that's what it feels like. Correct. Girl. Yeah. So so Trouble in Phoenix. Very curious to see just if they make. And Nikki Blue now as the interim head coach. Good luck. Good luck. Uh, yep. Ooh. Mm, yep. Wrinkle. I'm sorry. I saw a tweet from Tarika Foster Brasby. And this goes to some girl. I just caught secondhand the drama between Zion Williamson and his little side piece, boo thing. I don't know what the heck has been happening. I learned a lot more about that man and his proclivities than I ever thought I would ever know in a lifetime. Um, but the reason I'm mentioning that is because Tarika Foster Brasby tweeted at Finisher 11, who is, of course, the one and only Teresa Weatherspoon. You available right now? And yes, Teresa Weatherspoon is available. And if you remember, what's his name? I forget his real name. I just remember him as the baby from Boston. Perkins, right? What's his first name? Anyway, he was on ESPN and went off because the New Orleans Pelicans got rid of Teresa Weatherspoon on their coaching staff, has been the reporting. And he went off saying that, because she was very integral in Zion Williamson's basketball development. Okay, let's just keep that 100% clear. And so she's been let go from the organization. And according to Perkins, if I remember correctly, is that his? Am I getting his last name right? I just see his face, and they used to nickname Baby. He's on anyway. Anyway, he used to play for Boston. Anyway, he said that Apparently, allegedly, the Pelicans organization did not let her interview for the head coaching job. Where? For the Phoenix Mercury. Ooh, and so now she's not coaching with the Mercury anymore. So what if I'm putting my tinfoil hat on now. What if the Pelicans let Weatherspoon go because there were some feels that the Mercury head coaching position might be open? Mm, mm, interesting. Um, there's so much drama. There's so much drama. So much drama. Yeah, so people asking who would you like to see as the coach? Kendrick Perkins. Okay. Okay, Kendrick Perkins. Big baby. Yeah. Big baby. Yeah. So JC's saying, love that theory. I have no idea if it's true. I pulled so many different, conspiracy theory strings together, but I didn't even see your question about who would you like to see as the Mercury head coach. I do think Teaspoon, it hurts my heart that she never got a real chance with the New York Liberty. They had her right there on the bench and she was always sitting second row. Like, what are we doing? So is it Teaspoon? I don't know. But if you want to talk about developing players, motivating players, I don't know too many people better than Teaspoon now. Is that something that she wants? Given that we have been kind of suggesting that it's not just the roster, but it's who's making the roster. So is that something that she wants to walk into? I don't really know. I think, yep, because, and what I was going to say is, I find for a lot of reasons that are not always the fault of the people themselves, especially when they are women folk as opposed to men folk and even queer folk. But we are unforgiving, more unforgiving of air quotes bad coaching in women's sports than we are in men's sports. But ironically, we are also very forgiving of absolute trash coaching and absolute trash behavior when it comes from the men folk, especially of the pale complexion, which is very troubling. Anyway, so another tangent, but also it's true. It's true. Woo! But Nigel Laney, we knew it wasn't going to be a blowout. We knew it wasn't going to be. I know. Tough. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Tough. Yep. It was not the right situation, and I don't yeah, I don't know. Again, I think Diana Taurasi brings a lot to the table, and not all of that is always, um w well, sure. I think what I was gonna say is not all of that is always something that everyone can handle. I think yeah. I mean, there's things I'll flat out say that I don't like about DT, but again, in this situation, I just don't know how much is just DT playing puppeteer versus DT is loud. DT is opinionated, and we all know that. We all know that. And it's just like me. I'm gonna be who I am. I am who I am. I'm gonna be who I be. And that creates problems for people who don't know how to deal with people who are like that, or don't know how to deal with people who look like me that are like that. And those are problems um, that I have to learn how to navigate because unfortunately, as a Black Latina, oh damn, who's down? Is that Laney? Good gracious, this game is wild. All right, hold on. We've got a potential injury, so we're gonna hang tight here. I think it was a blind screen. There's just so much news. We keep going. Yeah, I think it was just a blind screen. Or ankle. Yeah. Oh yeah, maybe hyperextended. We'll see. Yeah. Lord, everybody's tripping over everything in this game. Okay, there's so much drama. We haven't really, or I haven't. Yeah, I think that's what she's gonna have to do is go. Sykes is so. I know, I know. All right, we're gonna get back to this game. There's so much drama in the W. We're just gonna have to keep talking about it. But this game's coming down to the wire, so we're gonna lock in here. We're at the 5:05 mark, 55-51. Mystics with Stewie at the line. I, Now, Misha and I said this might be a low scoring game, but we thought it was going to be because of defense. But quite honestly, I think it's just been both teams making mistakes, not dropping shots. So we'll see. Yep. Yep. Neither is, and that's why these kind of teams really come down to, and that's why I think these types of games are good preparation for what you're going to need in the postseason because the postseason is not ideally, right? Teams that are there, they're not figuring out their identity, so they're not making the same mistakes. It's that there are fewer mistakes made. So the small mistakes that are made, you have to know how to capitalize on them. That's what postseason looks like. But how do you develop that? How do you develop that skill set? It comes from games like this, where you're not at your best, and you have to grind out wins, and you have to figure out, okay, who are we going to in what scenarios? Who's got that that dog in them? Who's gonna go get us the ball? Who's gonna go get us the ball? At the end of the day, it's a simple game. I did. We talked about that on the yes. Oh no. Yes, sorry. The video was great. I'm sorry. JC's comment just threw me off a little because I'll tell you how it makes me feel. But the question is, what do you think of Connecticut being without Jones with her ACL injury? Ooh. Okay, so I think you're talking about Bree Jones, and it was actually an Achilles rupture. Yeah. AT, listen, look at this. AT with a triple double already at the top of the fourth quarter, but not an all-star starter. Y'all are clowns. Anyway, um, how do I feel about Jones? Oh gosh, no contact injuries are never great. It's usually something like an ACL, an Achilles. and it's really unfortunate because Bree Jones, I thought she came in really fit for Connecticut. I asked her earlier in the season how she's been taking on a leadership role because she's not a new she's not a rookie. She's not a new player to that organization. And now without Jonquel Jones there, she's going to eat up some of those minutes at center. And I honestly was here for it. So to know she's out for the rest of the season in like, that's heartbreaking. I mean, that's how the sport goes. But I mean, I feel like all of WNBA is just gutted about that news because she's one of those players like an AT. Um, I think I don't know that her star will ever rise to a Sylvia Fowles level. Obviously, Sylvia Fowles had the national team program and she's won championships, but I mean, Jones is of that, she's cut of that cloth, just like right at that level of just steady, solid WNBA players that can really make an impact. And again, I thought she came in really fit. So it's unfortunate that she had a non-contact injury, which again, it just happens in sports. So yeah, those are my thoughts. But that's why I literally almost like cried on camera when I saw it pop up because I was like, no. Yeah, it's tough. And it's tough for Connecticut as well, you know? Yeah. Not quite, almost. We got about 4 minutes, a little over 4 minutes. Cool, 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 tight, tight, tight. Got you. Alright, so we are 58-53. The Mystics have had the lead, but the Liberty clawing back. Stewie, her shot selection has been suspect for me, to be if I'm being honest. I think she's forcing it a little bit. Yeah, there you go, they're talking about it right now. They say 1 of 9 from the floor? Yowza. Exactly, and I think that's the pressure. New York This is a New York Liberty franchise problem. They put so much on their one player. I talked about Tina Charles. Again, I understand. Listen, as someone who was tagged because Tina Charles came at me for something that she thought I was saying, which I really wasn't saying, I'm not defending I have no reason to defend Tina Charles because 'cause I've been on the other side of it, okay? Just putting that out there. And you know me, Angelica, Imma call a spade a spade. People put a lot of crap on Tina Charles that wasn't all her. And honestly, if even if she was as salty as people say, which she kinda is sometimes, I understand it. I'm not mad because she's not wrong. She wasn't wrong. The Liberty was not setting her up for success. They weren't. They were playing games in these streets. Exactly. She was tired of the BS. And I understand. Like, I understand. So anyway, but like the Liberty do that. They did it to TC. They ran that horse into the ground. And they wanted to try and do that with Sabrina, but they couldn't because she got injured in her rookie season, like her second game. And, Natasha Howard was supposed to be that player, but she had some injuries to deal with. So then we got Benija Laney, and then all of a sudden they were like, oh, yeah, now we remember why we signed her. Now let's, ride her into the ground. Like it's just a constant, and I get it. You're in a New York market. You have to sell, or there's a pressure to and also a benefit to selling your best players from a marketing perspective. I get that. And you have to build a well-rounded team if you want to win in the WNBA. Sometimes they are. Or yeah, the Nets. Yeah. And yeah. I mean, didn't Harden pull a Tina Charles where he was like, "I'm coming to Brooklyn," and he's like, "Oh hell no!" Like he Exactly. And when you see that it's messy being like, "I'm out. I'm not doing this. In my 15th year, I'm not dealing with your BS with a new head coach. I'm not doing that. Imma do me." Well, both, technically, because he went and then he came back and then he left again. Yep. Yeah, right. Because now everyone's like, "Oh, we don't respect Charles Barkley and his loyalty. We're looking at him like, oh, he's the only one on this TBS panel without a ring." And I'm like, "Y'all are trash." Everything. Everything. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm catching up on the comments. JC says, "Protect Tina Charles at all times." Meanwhile, RC is like, "I wanna say something about Tina Charles, but my mama always said, if you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing," all caps. So my lips are sealed. Okay. Again, I understand, but also, like, you're not gonna win that battle with me because, again, Tina Charles did a lot for the Liberty. And again, Tina Charles pushed the Mystics. Tina Charles pushed the Storm, and she was ready to do so for Phoenix until she saw how messy it was. So, I mean, mhm, it's a no for me. It's a no for me, dog. But JC says Ionescu with a big bucket. And see, this is why having Sabrina be a two and not be the target on this team is dangerous. Cause we already know she's got that clutch gene. That's not that's not a question. That's not a you can hate on her on whatever she posts on social media, on baka baka ba, but she has that clutch gene. Just like, I mean, again, we've been talking about Tina. Tina got that clutch gene, period. So when you give them players who can do that with them on a night in, night out basis, then you allow a player like Sabrina Ionescu from like someone said on a broadcast from Queens to shoot as deep as Queens with accuracy. That's what you need. Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. A few other comments that I want to get to. I skipped one. Okay. Which players deserve more recognition and love? Cheyenne Parker or Nalasia Smith? I mean, I don't think it's an either or, but what I will say is if you haven't listened to Gotta Get Up episode 5, Brian and I talk about Cheyenne Parker. Malaysia Smith, definitely a player that I would lump in with probably like a Ryan Howard and Haley. Oh, excuse me, a Ryan Howard and Haley Jones, who I know you asked me about as well. Malaysia Smith, what I love is that you saw what she was able to do in what a lot of people, including the legendary Lynn Dunn, as well as myself, yours truly, right here, believe can be a developmental league for the WNBA, and that's Athletes Unlimited. So we saw what Malaysia Smith could do there. As far as Ryan Howard, obviously Rookie of the Year, and I think she gets it, and I think Atlanta gets it. Atlanta knew that Ryan could take things over for Dream, and they gave her enough minutes, and they set up an offense where she could do that last year. And they have, even in the short amount of time that she's been in the league, put pieces around Ryan Howard to get her to develop even better. And that is traditionally, again, whether we're talking about rookies or veteran players that come over like a Tina Charles, the Liberty have not been a franchise that has been great at doing that. But I digress. To answer your question, I like Ryan Howard. I like what Cheyenne Parker is doing. I like Haley Jones. I think that with Aaliyah Boston as a rookie this year, I don't know realistically that any other rookie is getting as many minutes with as much impact as Aaliyah Boston. But what I will say about Haley Jones is that she's shown that she can be impactful for Atlanta. So I'm very eager to see how she continues to grow and develop. And what I like about Atlanta is that they have Tanisha Wright. They have Kia Vaughn, whose last name I couldn't remember for like a whole 2 minutes on the stream earlier. Those are, and Vicky Johnson, VJ's there now too, right? Now, a lot of people didn't like her as a head coach, and I think there are some valid arguments to be made there. But she, like a Teaspoon, who was her teammate in New York, they developed Becky Hammon. They grinded out the best of Becky Hammon when she was in New York, and that's how she became a superstar when she went to San Antonio. And now we see what she's doing as a coach in basketball, period. So you need to tell me that now Tanisha Wright, VJ, Kia Vaughn, who all got that old school dog. They got that old school dog. And I know VJ, Vicky Johnson, and Teaspoon has that dog in her too. They're not originally from New York, but they got that dog. They got that Southern dog in them. So that's a whole nother bite. That's a whole nother bite. If you're a Southern dog and you can hang with the New York dogs, like that's I don't think people realize like that's serious. That's serious. Like that's no one you want to mess with. No one you want to mess with. And if they pour into you, that's because it's love. That's what people don't understand. If you're not from New York, if you're not really from the South, that's what you don't understand. Like it comes off in a certain kind of way, but it's love. Like that. Exactly. Exactly. Push it out of you. And if you got to be mad at me, be mad. But what you're not going to be is average all the way at the top. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I'm like, "Baby, Imma help you, but this ain't it." Okay, we got a few more questions here as this game continues to spice up a little. We'll see if the Liberty, they still gotta claw back here. That means they gotta get some stops defensively. And the question, has Jonquel Jones been very productive? Curious how she's fitting in with the group. So, I don't think she's been her most productive in her career. No. I think that what you have to remember is that Jonquel Jones is coming off an injury, and she did not have preseason with this team. I think she's getting back to fit, and she's finding her fit with the New York Liberty. I think with the Dawson injury as well, we'll start to see more. So I don't have an answer per se, but I think we're gonna find out in the next week or so where she fits in. And then, ooh, the spice when it comes to Caitlin versus Sabrina versus Asia. Listen, all of those players, if they signed for the New York, if they wanted to sign for the New York Liberty tomorrow, I would say you better sign over the Statue of Liberty, the fucking Empire State Building, and the Freedom Tower to get them here. Like, what? No, like, you do whatever you can do to make those players happy. Like, I don't care. Well, and that's kinda I think what Savs and what Kelsey got wrapped into as well. Yeah. I mean, you're right, it's not fair, so I'm not talking about the fans, I'm talking about Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is serious. Caitlin Clark is serious. Caitlin Clark is serious, she got serious game. Is it she's not 100% refined, and she's what? Was her junior year? So, with more growth, with more development, but Caitlin Clark, yeah, 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 yeah. I got to see Caitlin really for the first time because I don't stay up for Iowa games. And also, women's NCAA is during hockey season, so that makes it difficult. Um, but Caitlin Clark in the Final Four in the Elite Eight, I was like, oh shoot! I was like, oh shoot, that's real. I love this comment, and this is real talk. This is real talk. Caitlin Clark is the gold standard and the reason LSU loaded up. And you're right. You're right about that because LSU they won that, so you can't deny that. But Caitlin Clark, I mean, this is Caitlin Clark to me is similar to probably how Kelsey played in college, definitely how Sabrina played in college, but I think oof, in a shooting contest, I think I go with Clark. I think I go with Clark. If I had to pick a shooter, lights out shooter, I think I go with Clark. Which is crazy because Kelsey's an amazing shooter and Sabrina's an amazing shooter. And I feel like Caitlin Clark just just took it to a I don't know, like, what is that gonna look like in the I feel like you could inbound the ball and shoot a three-pointer, like, full range, just and knock it down. I think they are in two different games, so I don't know what the percentage. I think for me, I like her shot. I think her shot is oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Okay, Imma be honest, I was very concerned, and also I was like, "Betnijah Laney, I need you to make that shot." Oh, Jesus. Oh gosh. Wow. They have even the Liberty trainer going over there to make sure that they're not getting that camera shot. Yeah, and that's the Liberty trainer there too, to because not to so that they don't get that shot or they're yeah, she's oh, fudge. Oh. Oof. I'm gutted. I'm gutted. Misha and I were talking, and I was like, "Listen, obviously, I'm from New York. I have a whole New York Liberty podcast, so I it's a little hard for me to say that I'm, like, rooting for the Mystics, but I will 100% say I am rooting for Shakira Austin. I love, love her game. Oh, oh gosh. Oh, I'm ill. I'm ill. I mean, I'm gonna get to the comments about Caitlyn and whatnot and Haley Van Lith, but I just need a moment. That because I saw the breakaway and I was like, "Ooh, that's a little bit of an awkward gate." She like got caught up trying to make the breakaway, and then as soon as she was getting her stride back, something went. Yeah. Oh gosh. Ugh. She's such a promising player. I think she took so many amazing strides. She had to work for every minute that she got last year. She really had to work. And then I think she came back determined to not just have to grind. She's like, I'm claiming these. This is these are my minutes. This is my role on this team, and then had the potential to really for the kind of first time work with Elena Deladon. And I know they talked a lot in the preseason or earlier in the season about working off of each other. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, oh gosh. Oof. Okay. That's a gut punch. So we'll have to just wait and see what's gonna happen. All right, let me get to these comments. How far away is Haley Van Lith from reaching Caitlin's level? Here's the thing, and the reason. So what I was getting at is I like Caitlin's shot. I love her shot. Um, and again, Sabrina has a pretty technical shot. I think Plum probably I don't know. I have to look. Now I'm gonna see. Now y'all got me thinking. Off the top of my head, I'm saying I like Caitlin's shot. Oh gosh, they're showing it again. And yeah, she just kind of. Yep. Oh gosh. Oh gosh, they carried her off. Damn, they carried her off. Okay. Oof. Oh gosh. Yeah, Austin and EDD is gold. So hope. I mean, I don't know. We don't know. No, she was carried off the court. So dang, that's tough. This has been a grudge match. We knew it was gonna be. We knew it was gonna be. And I don't honestly don't think it's the players gunning for each other. They're just grinding, like Shakira Austin, obviously that was a no contact, but she wanted to win that possession. She wanted to, they want both of these teams are moving faster than I think we've seen them because they want this game. And that's I love to see it. I'm gonna be honest. It's just a little messy right now because it's still early in the season. So uh yeah. Yeah. When the adrenaline's coursing high in this game. They need to, and no one's really been able to settle it in. I think Benajelini's probably been the closest for the Liberty. And I mean, EDD's got ice. You want to talk about ice in the veins? EDD, I don't think I've ever seen EDD. And this is how you know she's upset. If she gets worked up, like, because she's emotionless, it almost feels like she's just ice in the veins. Um, so I don't know. Oof. Oh, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, unfazed, unfazed, unfazed. Yep. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Because 'cause I'm just like emotions blah, all the time. Alright, quick on Haley quick on Haley Van Lith. Haley Van Lith. Here's my thing. I don't think Haley Van Lith and Caitlin Clark are the same prototype, so it's hard to compare them. Um, that's what I wanna say. Haley Van Lith, um, she's got a swagger. It's a different kind of swagger. It's a different kind of approach to the game. So I think your question is interesting, but I'm not really sure how to answer it because I just don't see them as comps, and I don't think that they're covered in the same way. But Haley Van Lith coming to LSU is gonna put her in a different stratosphere. So I guess we'll find out soon enough is probably the best answer that I can give. Yeah. And then just to go back to Caitlin versus Sabrina versus Kelsey, who those are players. Ooh, those are players that I think are good comps. I would say that if I'm taking the shot alone, I'm taking Caitlin's shot. If I'm taking the whole player, I'm taking Kelsey Plum every day. Not even a question. I'm taking Kelsey Plum. I'll take her twice if you let me. Um, and Sabrina's not far off, but Kelsey has a better first step. I think Caitlin's first step is, oh, I have to look at it again. I'm kind of giving her the edge, but again, to what Angelica you said, WNBA versus NCAA not the same. And I know that Sabrina's been working on her first step. Sabrina has also been working on her defense. I mean, obviously, Caitlin will literally shrug people off like I'm not covering her. So she's not my defensive choice, which is why if I had the three, I'm picking Kelsey Plum because I know Kelsey Plum can lock up defense, and y'all know how I feel about defense. Yeah, very. She's filthy. She's filthy, and she's not done developing. So I love it. And yeah, I love this. Kelsey really developed with the 3-on-3. I think. Oh gosh, like we're just this is just crazy. Like everyone's on the floor. Stewie's upset. Stewie's been yeah out of sorts. Um, Kelsey really developed with 3-on-3, and I think again she came back healthy. Like it was a goal of hers to get to the Olympics. That's why Kelsey's. No, I'm talking about Kelsey. That's why Brianna Stewart was like, "What's going on here?" Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Crazy. Oh, I got this for us. For oh, you're good. Yes, generally speaking, although that doesn't always carry for women's basketball. Men's basketball, who is defense? Who is she? And I'm not going to be honest, as much as I love defense, that's the excitement of men's college basketball, especially in the tournament, because it's just like bodies running. Boop, 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 boop. But in women's basketball, the teams we're getting a cluster of teams at the top at an elite level, and they have scorers, they have defenders in the paint. So you have to get stops. You have to get stops to win games. So, like NCAA is about to be crazy, and I mean, can't announce it yet, but should have some things in the works where I'll be covering more NCAA women's basketball. So excited for that. I'm excited. Yeah, this is it. This is it. Down the wire. Oof. Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah. I guess I just, like, I don't think they should be a sleeper, so, like, I don't know. Like, if you watched the first game, I was, "Oh, yeah, they okay, they're about it." Liberty post game. This game is whew, alright. I was getting all wrapped up and everything. I gotta get this room ready. We're gonna have Misha join Brian and I for our Liberty post game. Like, what is happening? This game is drunk. I know, I'm like, what is happening? It's, okay, I'm all here for them talking about Sue Wicks and all about them talking about pride. I'm just very much questioning why they thought that with 2:40 left in the 4th quarter with a close game like this was the right time to talk about those things. I mean, respectfully, like, who like, literally at any point in time. Correct. But, like, honestly, now we don't want that. I wanna know what is happening with Shakira Austin. I wanna know what is the strategy for the next 240 for these 2 teams. The strategy for Washington is Elena Delle Donne. That's why you stay on your feet. But again, that's why, like, Sabrina Ionescu is a great player, and she doesn't have a quick step, she doesn't have a great first step. Very smart. Oof, hip injury. Mhm. Oof. How did this one get ahead of this one now? It's very strange. All right, folks, we're at the 156 mark, 75-68. Deladon for the three, can't make it, but Banajalini with the rebound. You got to, yep, I knew that was going to be a foul. Somebody was going to get a foul on that. Sykes was trying to pester Ionescu to get a foul call on her. I think Sab I think Sab's played it pretty well, to be honest. And also, at first I was like, she got to give up that ball, but knowing that they're in the bonus, that's who you want on the ball. So Sykes needs to be a little more careful there. Like that's not who I would foul. Oh, look at that. Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe in the house. I know it was not. Well, it's going to be a jump ball between Deladon and Ionescu. Oh, it's Thornton, but and Thornton wins it. Uh-oh. Too many bounces on the pass, but Ionescu comes up with it. Shot can't get the roll though. Oh dear. Oh, oh my. This game is wild. This game is wild. Like I honestly don't know what's happening. I think who was it? JC or ours or once someone was like all the bodies hit the floor, like legitimately all the bodies. Oh, was jumping. Okay, I was like, girl, like Kayla, and that's the thing. Like Kayla Thornton's not a flopper to me, so that's why I was like, what's happening? I didn't see the contact, but as she was jumping up, she got pushed out. So that's a good call. And I understand now why she kind of looked like a fish jumping out of water. I was like, what is happening? What a time. This was not pretty. But somebody's gonna win. We don't have draws like in soccer or football. I love it. Three, we just need a good shot. I I adore Sandy Brondello. I really do. That's usually her motto. Yep. Oh, didn't get the stop though. Yep, we talked about Tosh Cloud, and you can see why. Cloud a dog. That's right. It's true. It's true, JC. Yep. Interesting. Sabrina with 19 rank for player, but 6 for both media and fan. 6 for media? She wasn't on my ballot. I cover the Liberty, and I did not have Sabrina Ionescu on my ballot. I mean, she was an all-star starter last year. I thought she deserved to be an all-star last year. Did she deserve to be a starter? No. No. And that's, there's an argument about what all-star games are really about, who they're for, all that. Oh, damn! See, Sabrina heard me talking shit. Sabrina heard me talking shit. Sabrina heard me talking that shit. If she gonna stop, she makes it. Oh shit! Let's go. Oh shit! See, now this is when we find out what kind of New York Liberty team we have. I didn't appreciate Tarika Foster Brasby saying the New York Liberty is overrated. And I'm here to tell you that we haven't even seen the best of this New York Liberty team yet. Y'all need to calmate, relax. Relax. Because the New York Liberty are not calling themselves a super team. I mean, maybe privately. And honestly, maybe the GM, if I'm being honest. But the players and Sandy, especially Sandy's like, I don't give a what anybody says about that. Both y'all ain't do shit yet. Y'all ain't do that damn thing. Y'all ain't do a damn thing yet. Show up. Siéntate. Exactly. Listen, listen. But a win like this, and this is what we said, a win either way. Damn, this is good. Like, it wasn't good basketball, but this is good basketball because these are two teams not at their best, dealing with injuries either right before this game or in the middle of the game. Oh, Shakira, heart goes out. But this is when you have to grind. And we're seeing dogs come out. Tosh Cloud, Sabrina's clutch gene activated big time because Stewie. Who is the most consistent player for the New York Liberty? Who is the most consistent player for the New York Liberty? Benageline. Benageline. Who has come in clutch on the offensive side? Sabrina Ionescu. Who has come in clutch on the defensive side and with her slippery ass? That would be Courtney Vandersloot. Yo, she's slippery. Yo, I'm like, yo, it's like the line don't exist. How'd she get there? What's she doing? She like, bloop, bloop, just flipping on through. I'm like, damn. She just got the turnover. See, okay, this is when we know. Old New York Liberty, they blow this. New New York Liberty, can they get a shot? This is going to be this play right here is we about to find out. Can they get a shot? See. Oh wait. Oh wait. Now they're saying, okay, that was okay. I got to see this replay again. That's New York Liberty ball. That's New York Liberty ball. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. First of all, they didn't review it. And second of all, they just blew the call. Like the absolute bad call. Okay, you see, but I told you, I was like, Old New York, they don't get a bucket here. Old New York Liberty wouldn't make that shot. They didn't make the shot. But also that was like I'm trying to understand how that was even what like how did you say that was possession for Washington? And then also you don't review that with less than 2 minutes in the game? Stop playing. But okay, let's see what happens. Now New York has to get another stop. Oh, are we old New York Liberty or are we new New York Liberty? Old New York Liberty or new New York Liberty? What's going to happen? But also, I wouldn't give the ball to Stewie based off of this game. Stewie didn't need to shoot the ball. But then, I mean, Stewie is Stewie, so there's that. It's tough. You live, you die, right? You got to live with her, you got to die with her. I understand that, but also, ah. And these are the growing pains, right? I would hope that as we get to the last 5 games of the season, these questions are answered for the New York Liberty and for Washington. I think Washington's closer to knowing the answers, but you have to go through these things together. I would have given the ball to Laney or Sabrina Ionescu has been shooting pretty well in the last few minutes. And we know she's a clutch shooter. That's what sister girl does. That's why you took her at number 1. You didn't take her at number 1 to be your point guard. You took her to make these shots. So all right, it's going to be Tiana Hawkins at the line. 77-75, 21.8 left. Oh, this game is wild. This game is wild. I don't know how this one caught up before this one. Oh! Oh! Yes, she did. What is happening? This game is drunk. I might be drunk, and I swear all I had was tea. I'm trying to, because, okay, Courtney Vandersloot wanted to pass that ball, couldn't pass it, was like, oh shit, I guess I got to shoot it. And she gets bailed out. Ah! I mean, there was contact. Is it a foul? But also, the possession arrow was okay. Okay, this game is drunk. Okay. I'm stressed. I'm stressed. All right, where are we at playback? I'm trying to watch it on in real time, but also like I just need to know what happens. Because we gotta dip, we gotta get ready for our podcast recording. This game is drunk. This game is drunk. Vandy, first of all, 1 point game. 1 point game. The New York Liberty obviously need to stop. If they cannot give up anything from distance, they cannot foul. Oh, but wait, there's only 10.5, so they might foul just to get them to the line. I don't know why I thought there was more time. I'm tipsy. I'm tipsy. This game has me out of sorts. Okay. I'm like I'm I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Okay, 10.5. So the Liberty have no timeout. So they either need to get this stop or they have to foul. Laney's gonna foul Cloud. All right, here we go. She can make this a 3-point game. I'm trying not to look at the other screen.
All right, I'm not watching. I'm not. I'm gonna watch on playback. I'm gonna watch on playback. Okay, 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 okay. Woof, 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 woof. Ah! Woo! Okay, okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Listen, I'm very glad that Courtney Vandersloot got that shot. I'm also trying to understand why the New York Liberty let Tasha Cloud dribble the ball and get a last minute shot. Because what? Oof, Sloot. But look at this. Tosh Cloud almost gets the shot off. I mean, she does get the shot off, but like, imagine she makes that shot. No one from the New York Liberty picked her up. But see, that's what I'm telling you. Washington, they came right away. They were ready to go. New York has the pieces, but they're not in sync yet. I don't understand why New York Liberty was not defending that inbounds. You got to know how much time is left. Washington knew. Washington knew they had enough time. How you not know? How you know no? You know? Shit. Got me stressed. Got me stressed. You're right. We did predict overtime. I was so stressed. JC in the comments on our preview with Misha, we both were like, what if we go to overtime? I was like, you know what? And what else did we say, JC? We also said, don't be surprised if it's a low scoring game. For these teams, this is we talked about it for the Mystics. This is about on par for what the Mystics score, but the New York Liberty put up a what 106 was it against Atlanta? They've scored 100 points in the last, or not in the last, but they've scored 100 points or more 3 times this season. So we know the Liberty can score more. This was a kind of sloppy game. It wasn't the defensive battle that I thought it was going to be. The officiating, the whistles made the game choppy in places. I don't know what the hell the officiating was doing. That was very clear. I don't understand how they didn't see that that ball went off of Tosh Cloud. That was very strange to me. I think you can make the argument that the foul that Courtney Vandersloot got was soft, if I'm being honest. Was it a makeup call? Air quotes. I don't know. But that was like, I mean, there was contact, but baby, it's basketball. What you think? What you think gonna happen? Like, what are we doing? Ellie is too much. I can't. Maybe the refs are drunk. We're all drunk. We're all drunk. Maybe the refs are drunk. I'm weak. I am so weak. Okay, here we go. And it's not like hockey, hermana. We have to watch the whole thing. We gotta watch the whole thing. Drama. I'm drama. I live. I live. Woo! Woo! Okay. All right. All right. All right. Oof, child. All right, let's see. I'm gonna watch only on playback. I'm gonna, because if I don't, so now we gotta. I don't have the box score. So I mean, another thing we gotta start looking at is how many fouls do folks have? Is WNBA always this damn messy? Yes. Somebody talk about Angel Wilson. Rassissimo. Ooh, they are like the most minutia of fouls. This game is ooh, stress. I mean, that's the rule, all because of Kawhi Leonard, and they've changed the rule. Kinda like, oh, who is that baseball player where they changed the whole, Buster Posey, right? The catcher? They changed the whole rule about how to cover the plate because of the injury he sustained. Oh, child. Sorry to this man. Sorry to this man. I I wouldn't know a thing. No. What is happening here? What are we doing? What are we reviewing? Ah, overtime time. They just wanna make sure everyone knows how extra it is. Extra emphasis. 4th career triple double. Not a the non, WNBA All-Star starter, Alyssa Thomas. The one and only non-WNBA. Okay. Oh, baby, listen, we just everybody missing free throws in overtime. This game, cray. This game, cray. The shots have been like, we just going ha we going half and half on everything. Do challenges reset for OT? Now that's a good question. I sure hope they do. This is why you get a veteran guard. This is why you get a veteran guard. Vandersloot. Slippery ass. Look at this slippery ass. How'd she do that with 6 seconds left? Little slippery ass from Spokane, Washington. See, why are we missing free throws? Why are we missing free throws? Yeah. They just trying to they're the ruiner of lives. Okay, Sykes, I see you. Oh gosh. I got an ulcer. I don't know. I'm just hungry. I'm hungry. Yo tengo hambre. That was her bread and butter all game. Couldn't handle it. It was like 2 feet wide. It's crazy. This game is wild. It's this game is absolutely wild. How you gonna leave her wide open? What you do? What you do? She's like, I got it. They're like, we're not gonna make a free throw, but we'll knock down some 3-pointers all day. Every logo all day. Oh, are we sure? Are we sure? Let me see it again. That's a tough foul for her to foul out of the game too, man. That's kind of bullshit. I understand why she's pissed. That's trash. Like, let them play. Let them. They were like, we're not even showing that again. Ciao. Elena Deladon. Sometimes I feel like she'd be moving in slow motion. She's just so long. So long. And I'm like, wait, what's happening? I'm mesmerized. Like those long ass strides. Like, what is happening? It took her 2 days to land. Like, what are we doing? And I'm like, not 2 business days on a holiday. Listen, I need a snack. I need a drink. I need it all. I need a meal. Like, ooh, EDD. She's not a game. She is not a game. RC Talk said, just let EDD get to her spot. EDD literally got the speed of Dirk or Jokic, but gets it done. I'm like, yo, what planet is this? Because it's so slow. I'm like, someone stop this sloth. Someone stop this sloth. But it can't be done. I'm like, baby, what's happening? Stewie just can't. She can't get it. It happens. It bees that way. Be like, just give the ball to Lainey. Stewie's like, we will not take this ball out of bounds. I will do so. And then you know what? She right, because she don't need to be shooting. She literally pulled Sabrina Ionescu off the line. Oh, see, but that's why I fucks with Stewie. That's why I fucks with Stewie, because she's like, oh no, I'm inbounding the ball because you're gonna get it. That's what I'm talking about. Oh! This game is crazy. Everybody came to play in overtime. Everybody came to play in overtime. Everybody came to play in overtime. This is wild. This game is wild. Look at this. The acrobatics. And she did that to Marine Johannes. She said, what? Oh, she got fouled like 3 times. Woo! You're done. Ah! This game is wild. Oh, yes. Slippery. No. No. Long. She started the motion 3 days ago and got there just I'm not hating. I'm getting off these jokes, but I have all the respect for EDD. I really do like watching her play. I just it's just a foreign language to me is all. I'm here for it. She's stronger than she gets credit for. You're right about that. Oh, oh. Oh, it's still a 2-point game with 1 minute left. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. That's like forever in a day. You gotta box out. You gotta box out. What are we doing? What are we doing? She gotta get through that length of Stewie, though. They called it travel? I'm literally like every shot has me upset and excited at the same time. Yo. Okay, hold on. I need to also take a break. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Oh my goodness. What a time. What a time. Oh no. They're showing us this final shot. Not Sabrina got more range than a sniper rifle. EDD marches to her own drum. Okay, here's the thing about Maureen Johannes. I think she absolutely can get more minutes, and she did get more minutes in this game. We're seeing her obviously with Courtney Vandersloot out. I do like her coming off the bench, and again, she feels more comfortable off the ball at the 2. So, you know, she's getting more minutes. She's getting into the rotation, or she's getting into the game earlier in the game, and I think that's good. But I don't agree that she needs to play the point guard, and I don't think she necessarily needs to start right now. At least not right now. So, but she's hella fun to watch. And I mean, you need shooters. Maureen Johannes is in the game because if Sabrina can't get the shot, then you have Stewie, then you have Laney, then you have Maureen Johannes. Stewart is grinding though. Ooh, could have been a walk. Looks like they call a foul. I got to see it again. Eric Tebow is pissed, and I can understand. I do think maybe there was a little steppy step. Hold on, let me see. But Stewie is grinding. She has not been shooting well, but she's doing everything she can. Look at this. Hustles for the ball. Let's see. Did she? No, I don't think she walked. I think I thought maybe she did an extra step. All right. Stewie activated. Stewie, listen, when I tell you she pulled Sabrina from the baseline and was like, you will not take this ball out. That's when I knew Stewie's like, I'm not fucking around trying to lose this game. She's like, I'm not shooting the ball. I need you to be ready to shoot the ball. Like I don't know if that's what she said, but like I'm a translator. I'm a translator. So basically in basketball, that's what she said. Like Brianna got to stop acting like she's out there by herself. Next comment. Never mind. Stewie, listen, and this is why it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Stewie, that when she yanked that child off the line, I knew Stewie was not fitting to lose this game. I need who's good at the gifts? Who's good at the I need that. I need that in the bank for later. Like, I thought I told you to get your ass in play. Yo, this game is wild. This game is wild. Oh gosh. This game is wild. For real. It's all the things. This game had a good time. And this game had such a bad time. It was a good time, and such a good time that it will be a bad time tomorrow. Girl. Girl. Child, I was tired. I was hungry. I still got to do post game after this, and then we record. Child. We're gonna have Misha and Brian. We're gonna record today. The episode will go up tomorrow. Child. Like, I don't know what to do but sing. I really don't. just make noises. Lord. Jesus. Healer. Shooter. Screener. Let's go. If she makes, I was about to say, if she made that damn shot, yo, bodies, everybody hit the floor. Literally everybody. Oh, Jesus. Healer. If she made that shot, I was like, you know what? Okay, but Benaji, you know that ball was off of you. But that being said, they did give the call to Washington last time, so I don't blame you for trying to sell it. Like, everybody hit the floor. Everybody hit the floor. All right, who does Washington give this ball to? Ooh. Ooh. I mean, if they make a shot, game is over. If they don't make a shot, game is over. Unless there's a foul, and then maybe the game is over. Oh gosh. Stop. I can't. Goodbye. Good night. I just can't. Like, I don't even know how to feel right now, Hermana. Like, what did I just see? Who was playing defense? Was that my girl Kayla Thornton? Because I think it was my girl Kayla Thornton. And what did I say on our preview? I was like, Kayla Thornton about to win this game with her defense. And when I tell you, Auntie B knowing, who was on that? Who was on that? Kayla Thornton. Kayla Thornton. No shot for you. No shot for you. Girl. I was tired. Woo! All right. Well, that does it for our watch along. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh Lord have mercy. I was tired. Oh, and they didn't even give us. They were like, "No, we gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go to LA. Going back to Kelly. All right, we're gonna record a podcast later today. They gotta get a podcast, but Angelica and I are gonna be on Twitter Spaces Tuesday. We're going to be talking about the women's hockey. We're going to be talking about the women's hockey and the lack of women in the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's going to be a good one. We're going to have a special guest who's taken things into his own hands when it comes to Women's Hockey Hall of Fame, and so we love it. So we got lots to talk about. We got it all. Oh my God. Like, I'm unwell. I need to go for a walk. That game was crazy. That was crazy. Thank you for those watching along with us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are going to do more watch alongs, and we'll talk about NCAA again. I have some news soon-ish to let you know where my women's basketball coverage will be this year. All right, y'all be well. Make sure you tune in to Gotta Get Up tomorrow. The episode will go live tomorrow, and then Founding Forward podcast, we'll do our women's hockey stuff. Peace. Wow, that was crazy.